Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Namaste, all of you. Welcome back to our continuing study of the pearls of wisdom that Poojya Swamiji is sharing with us through the pages of the Bhagavad Geetha home study. We are presently in the section called the context of the Gita. Why, the why and how the Gita came about, how Arjuna wanted to find a solution to the very fundamental problem of samsara. We are presently in that section. So let us continue. We are in the section that is titled A Fundamental Problem Requires a Fundamental Solution. That's where we are. So a problem can be solved topically or fundamentally. And Arjuna decided to solve it fundamentally. Because of the clarity it produces in one's thinking, a fundamental solution resolves the problem so completely that topical issues of right and wrong no longer exist. So, here we will pick up the thread from where we left. So, Swamiji says, Puja Swamiji says, remember, however, that you become sad because you are already subject to sadness. In fact, only the sad become sad, just as the mad become mad and the bad become bad. All that is required is a particular situation. The sad person is already there, and it may take no more than a change of weather for him or her to become sad. Certain plans may have been made based on a weather forecast of a good weekend. A rainy weekend then becomes a bad weekend. There are vulnerable spots in everyone, and when these are touched, the person is touched to the quick, meaning that he or she suddenly becomes angry, frustrated, sad, hateful, or desperate. A person does not suddenly become a desperate person. He or she is already desperate. The person is the despair. Psychologically speaking, there is sadness and there is some legitimacy for it. But if you look into the matter dispassionately and realistically, you will find that there is no reason to be sad. When you go to a therapist, you are a seeker. The therapist analyzes your past and arrives at a solution to your problem, saying, for example, it is all due to your mother. Yes, that is true, you say. In this way, the therapist validates your feelings. Knowing there is a reason for your sadness, you have a sense of freedom. You had certain opinions about yourself that made you sad, and now your reactions and responses have been validated properly. Your conclusions based upon wrong notions about yourself can now be looked at differently. By changing these opinions, you gain a freedom as though you have thrown light upon yourself. Accepting situations as they are. You begin then by acknowledging the situations and validating your responses. Later, you find there is no reason for sorrow. It does not mean you are suppressing the sorrow, only that you see the situation as it is. What we are doing is taking the sorrow one step further and asking, is there a real reason for sorrow? Lord Krishna told Arjuna, there was not. How could he say this? Was it merely because he had never experienced sorrow? After all, Krishna was looked up to. Everyone prostrated to him, and all the gopis were after him. Did he not recognize Arjuna's limitations? Very important way of analyzing our emotions, especially the very important emotion of sorrow or shoka. Lord Krishna understood Arjuna's limitations very well. Everyone has limitations: physical, perceptual, intellectual, and others that are picked up while living one's life due to the natural aging process. Originally, you may have had 20/20 vision, and now perhaps a vision of 20/60. Thereafter, you require glasses, a hearing aid, and perhaps a cane also. In spite of all these limitations, Lord Krishna said there is no room for sorrow. It is something to know and is what the teaching is all about. looks very apparently contradictory. But as we go forward, we will understand the meaning of this sentence thoroughly and clearly. Arjuna asked for the knowledge, and Lord Krishna taught him in the second chapter. He did not just make the statement and ask Arjuna to work on it. He made it very clear. Once Arjuna received the teaching, it became a matter of questioning and assimilating the knowledge given to him. Thus, the second chapter ends with Arjuna's question: how do you describe a wise man? Verse 54 of chapter 2, in which Arjuna asks this question. Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya keshava. That's the verse in which Arjuna asks the question. Sthitadhir kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. That was Arjuna's question. Krishna had told him that the person who is wise is different. He or she is one in whom, due to wisdom, there is no room for sorrow. Since the problem is to be solved by knowledge, Arjuna wanted to know how a wise man behaves while conducting the affairs of his life. He wanted to know how he walked, how he talked, whether he talked at all, and so on. Krishna did not answer the question literally, but instead responded to the spirit of the question. Had he not done so, Arjuna may have thought that all he had to do to be wise was to walk, talk, and sit in a certain way. A wise person is one who is happy and secure with himself or herself, one who requires nothing else to become secure. This sentence is worthy of a reread, and therefore I will read it again. A wise person is one who is happy and secure with himself or herself, one who requires nothing else to become secure. It refers to one who looks at oneself as a totally acceptable person, the one who can say, I cannot be better than myself. Because the acceptance is total, there is no area of non acceptance, isn't it? The self is essentially free from any sense of want or limitation. It is the whole, WHOLE, as Swami Paramarthananda would jokingly often say, WHOLE, not HOLE. It is the WHOLE in spite of the limitations of the body mind sense complex. We will pick up this interesting thread in the upcoming capsule. Hari Om.